Hey everybody, here is your fingerprints lesson. Just a kind of overview of the notes so that you could listen to it rather than read it if you like. So again, here are the fundamentals of fingerprints. Fingerprints are actually a combination of genetics and the conditions in the womb. So you and your twin may actually have the identical genetics, but you would have very unique fingerprints. So fingerprints are formed during the womb in the first trimester, in the womb during the first trimester of pregnancy. Every fingerprint is individual to every person, which is why they're fantastic for identification, and they remain unchanged throughout your life. The ridge pattern is what allows them to be classified. So we have plastic, visible, and latent. Visible can also be called patent fingerprints, P-A-T-E-N-T. You'll see that here. So patent are the visible ones. They are the ones, usually it's when someone gets their hand in a substance like blood or grease or dirt, and it's something you can see with the naked eye and take a picture of to capture as evidence. Latent prints, however, are not visible to the naked eye, and that's usually left by oil or sweat on your skin, leaving behind a print, but you can only really see that print if you use dusting powder or something like iodine or super glue to get those prints to show up. Modern labs can also use lasers and alternative light sources, but it's one of those things that typically on crime shows we show either the dusting powder or the super glue. Plastic prints are something where you actually get a 3D print of a fingerprint. So a fingerprint gets physically pushed into the soft, pliable substance. The 3D nature makes them really easy to spot. The bottom one you can see is even in butter. You don't really need to process these specially, but usually to collect them, they will both photograph them and make a cast out of them. So in the instance of this clay one, they'll fill it with something that creates like a little mold of it. So you have a 3D impression. Plastic prints can be left in things like soap or wax or butter, cheese, tar, all those kind of things, anything that's really soft or sticky. So we use a couple different characteristics to identify. We use arches, loops, and whorls. So arches are just what they sound like. Loops can be single, they can be from both sides. They can also, and then we also have whorls that look like little whirlpools. The loop is the most common in the population. About 60% of us have loops on our fingerprints. And right now there's no legal requirements for the number of points required for a match, but generally the more points you have, the better. 8 to 12 is a kind of a general range that is used by courts, but again, 1 or 2 points is really not going to cut it. You really need to have as many as possible. Other prints we can use. Lip prints can be used. They are unique to each person and they tend to be consistent throughout life. The best part about lip prints is that they often contain DNA. If someone is wearing lipstick, you can also identify the lipstick and maybe tie that to the person as well. The footprint is also unique to each person, and these usually last a long time at the scene because footprints are made when you step and put all of your weight on that foot, so they tend to be really pushed in there. They may also contain trace evidence, and one unique thing about footprints is you can often tell someone's gait, if they have injuries, what they look like when they walk. And so that can be particularly helpful if someone is seen like on camera with a very unique type of gait. Palm prints are very effective for identification as well, with lots more characteristics for identification. And the newest thing being used is biometrics. Iris patterns, voice recognition, hand geometry, those things are kind of up and coming right now for identification. Why don't we use bite marks? So bite marks were very famously used in the Ted Bundy case because he had a very interesting bite mark. We don't really use those anymore, primarily because our teeth move throughout our life, number one. Dental work can adjust our teeth, especially if you have a bite mark from a crime years ago and someone has had dental work done. And also, bite marks really aren't unique. A lot of people can have very similar bite marks, so that makes it very hard to compare them. So while it was used for Ted Bundy, it really isn't used anymore. He did have a very unique bite mark, but it's not really the best evidence. The current system used to be APHIS. Now it is the next gen identification system, and this is much more advanced than the old one. It has not only fingerprint technology and search, but it has palm prints, bioidentification, interstate photos, facial recognitions, all that kind of stuff. And it is growing by the day. Can we find fingerprints on skin? Yes, we can, but it is rather difficult. Oily residue but left behind on your fingers is also on the rest of your skin. So finding a fingerprint on skin is really difficult because everybody kind of has the same oils and stuff. So it's hard to find a contrast between the surface, the skin, and the fingerprint. And plus, any oily residue left by your fingerprint often gets absorbed in the skin and it makes the print really blurry. So 2 hours is about the max you have to find a fingerprint on skin, and even then it's pretty difficult. Can you lose, remove, or change your fingerprints? Yes and no. Criminals have tried many methods to alter their fingerprints. They have cut them, burned them, sandpapered them down. The problem is that when we take fingerprints of people, we typically go all the way down the fingers now, so we get lots of points of identification. And once you have a scar, that scar actually becomes part of your record too. So this is not the most effective way, and if the burn or cut is not deep enough, it will always come back as the original pattern. There are some fingerprints ways your fingerprints can go away that are not criminal, and that would be certain rashes or diseases can cause your fingerprints pattern to be temporarily changed. Even like a bad case of poison ivy can do it. Some occupations will temporarily remove or alter their fingerprints. So bricklayers, think of that rough surface. Secretaries working with paper all the time, it can often smooth those fingertips away. And maintenance workers who use lime or other caustic materials that can dissolve their skin. And also, senior citizens are very difficult to get fingerprints off of because your skin gets way less stretchy as you age. So senior citizens, when they get their fingerprints done, they typically tend to kind of blur together because there isn't a lot of difference between the raised ridges and the flatter parts in between.